I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocritics. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politicians. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth.
The steady robbery of land in the remnants of Palestine continues against all law and humanity. A majority of Israeli Jews and many racists in the West are determined to see Mandate Palestine cleared of all Untermenschen. Who knows what Untermenschen means? A few hands go up. It means the underpeople. It's what the Hitler regime called the Jews and the Romanis and others, and they are regarded as the in fact, they're the Untermenschen. They're regarded, I'll tell you later. An early Zionist aim to gain all the territory from the Nile to the Euphrates is still in many minds. I'm closely involved with the Palestinian people. I should have returned to teach doctors and medical students last year, having set up a little medical foundation with some other doctors there for the charity that I founded, the Dove and the Dolphin. But the Zionist entity and the complicit and Zionist-dominated Foreign and Commonwealth Office, led by Mr. Miliband, stopped that. Many will recall an earlier attempt by boat just after the promised Holocaust. The boat was rammed with the clear intention of drowning all 16 of us on board.
Well, I'm David Halpin. I'm a consultant, orthopedic and trauma surgeon, aged just 70 last April. And I've worked locally at Torbay Hospital where I dealt with trauma, and I've also dealt with orthopedic surgery, that's elective work, at the Princess Elizabeth Orthopedic Hospital in Exeter, which is now a housing estate. The orthopedic unit has been added to the General Hospital. And I retired full-time work in '93, and I did part-time work for about, I think, 7 or 8 years, a variety of tasks. And I've been living here at Haytor for the last 10 years, having chosen to come somewhere quieter where I could think. I felt that need. The village we were in before was getting a bit crowded and noisy. Lots of cars, litter. And when they started bombing Afghanistan from 32,000 feet, that is carpet bombing, you cannot bomb accurately from 32,000 feet. Well, you can, with special instruments, no doubt. The poorest people on earth in Afghanistan, or some of the poorest people, in response to a false flag operation, that is the 9/11 attack on the Twin Towers, not on Tower 7. When I saw it happening in October 2001, I was outraged. And I thought, what's this world? What are we doing? I decided to spend all my efforts, or almost all my efforts, attempting to, with others, to see justice in Palestine, because I know that Palestine is the hinge of our humanity. This terrible injustice, this grotesque suffering that these people have undergone since 1948 and before 48, in effect, no one has attempted to deal with it. And I know that so much, as you know, the tremendous religious potential there, the sight of concern for three major religions. And I felt that I must work there, and that's what I've done. So the last 8 years, I spent all my time, and the most significant thing I did to start with was to I could tell you more about this, but I decided that I heard of doctors being stopped from taking drugs to the Palestinian people at the Israeli borders. And that also outraged me. And I decided that the only way to deal with it was to take a boat so big that they couldn't stop it, and it would have attached to it such publicity that they would be, should we say, wrong-footed. So on the 1st of February 2003, I chartered a Danish cargo vessel with 4 of the Britons and the 6 Danish crew who were marvellous people. We took 50 tons of symbolic aid in this 600-ton cargo vessel to Ashdod in Israel, and it was taken south by lorries. The video of that voyage is on my website, David Halpin, and it was a symbol of our common humanity with sisters and brothers who were under the boot, not just of Israel, but of the Western nations, especially this nation and the United States. The central injustice is that in the drive to form an exclusively Jewish state in what they call the Promised Land, for what they regard as the chosen people, 800,000 Palestinians were driven from their homes, their land and their living by force of arms and by sheer terror. Terror produced by massacres, especially the massacre of Deir Yassin, which the anniversary of which we've just passed. And this was 2/3 of the Arab Palestinian population of Palestine, as we called it, more lately Mandate Palestine. And those people were driven in all directions, the majority in fact to Gaza, where I concentrated my efforts. The United Nations, just to underline the way injustice is ingrained in the world that's controlled by the West, in November 1948, that's about 6 months after the what was to become Israel declared their independence, in inverted commas, there was a resolution, United Nations General Assembly Resolution 194, which demanded that anyone who wished to live in peace, Palestinians, should be allowed to return to their lands and their homes. In fact, about 380 or more villages and towns have been erased, and some of them are just pine plantations now, over mounds of rubble. That's the fact of it. And hardly any Palestinian has returned. They made sure of that. It gets worse, you see, because there is an obsession with cleansing the land of all Palestinians, the native people. It is ethnic cleansing, but it can't be tolerated in, say, Darfur, or at least it's talked about there, or in Kosovo, but it is tolerated there since 1948. It started before, actually. And that's injustice. Just imagine the landholders here in Devon, small farmers and rather bigger farmers, some bigger farmers. Just imagine they were driven from their often lovely farmhouses to, say, the Welsh valleys, to stay there for the next 62 years. That's injustice. And upon that injustice has been added hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other injustices. I could tell you so much about it. It is heartrending what happens. Probably this morning, 3 o'clock, in the dark, some jeeps would have swept into an Arab village in the so-called West Bank, ineptly named because the West Bank's been taken by the Israelis. They would have yanked out perhaps a 14-year-old boy, perhaps and a brother, allegedly for throwing stones at a concrete wall which is illegal, 32 feet high, taken to the back of a jeep, handcuffed, perhaps hooded, and then taken to an interrogation centre, the parents not knowing initially where they are. Some of those children are tortured. Tortured. This is in 2010, in the year of our Lord 2010. It is unbelievable. And it exists because the Western leaders, particularly in this country, and in the States, and in Israel, are led mostly by psychopaths. They're people who have no human feeling, or very little of it, and also have no respect for law, for international law. It's all well written. Nuremberg principles are well written. But the Israelis, who were one of the, their relatives of whom suffered under the Third Reich, they neglect this completely. In fact, when I mention the Nuremberg principles in front of Jewish Zionists, they get very, very agitated indeed. They don't want to know about it. Denial is part of it.